Khushwant Singh's grandmother was very unhappy when she came to know that her grandson was taught science and English, and there was no study of religion and scripture in the school where he has been admitted. That was the second phase of their relationship. The author, as a young boy, he went to the city where his parents were living. Along with him went his grandmother, and there he was admitted to a new school where he used to go by a bus, and the grandmother could not help him in his study because the teachings in the school were all modern teaching, and the grandmother had nothing to do with them. Rather, she was very unhappy when she came to know that music was taught there, no religious or scriptural things are there. Especially the teaching of music was something that made her really very unhappy, and then she rarely talked to the author. She rarely talked to her grandson when she came to know that her grandson whom she took a lot of care in his childhood, whom she taught all the religious prayers she taught, but this very child is now learning music in the school. This was a tragedy for her, and she rarely talked to him when she came to know this. That was the end of the second phase of their relationship. Coming to the next, we will see in this third video, we will now see what happened to them next, the third phase of the relationship. Let us see this thing in the next paragraph in page number 5. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. So earlier we found that even when they went to the city, they still lived in the same room, they shared the same room, although there was a big gap because the woman could no longer help her grandson in his study, and also because she came to know that her grandson was learning music and science and modern things. These things made her unhappy, and there was less intimacy between them. Now when the author went to the university, he was getting higher education. Now what happened is that he was given a separate room. Yes, for a student of a university, he needs some more space, he needs privacy. That's why he was given a room of his own. And the author is saying, when this happened, the common link of friendship was snapped. The common link of friendship that they had till now, at least they were staying in the same room, this also was cut down. There was no friendship between them now. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. These words are given in bold. She accepted her seclusion with resignation. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. What does this mean? Seclusion means loneliness. The woman has become lonely now. She is all alone. Her friend, her grandson is now grown up, and she is now a student of a university, and he has got a separate room. And even before he went to university, there was gradual decrease in their intimacy, and now it is totally gone. There is no intimacy, and they are as if living in two different worlds. So the grandmother became secluded. She became lonely. And what did she do when she became secluded, when she became all alone? She accepted her seclusion with resignation. With resignation means without any complaint. Yes, elderly people, those people with strong personality, they have one quality that many people do not have. They accept things positively, and they have patience, a lot of patience they have. This woman is showing her patience. She accepted her lot, she accepted her luck with resignation, without any complaint. She just accepted it. She had no other way, of course. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. Now, what was she engaged in? Earlier, when they were in a village, she was engaged in prayers, and she would make her grandson ready for school. She would accompany him to school. She would feed the stray dogs on the way. Now, how is she spending her day? She is busy with her spinning wheel. What is the spinning wheel? A spinning wheel is a tool with the help of which people make cloth from thread. Using thread, you can make cloth with the help of a spinning wheel. So she was making cloth. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. She was all the time busy with a spinning wheel, making cloth. She rarely talked to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. From sunrise to sunset, all the day, she was busy in her spinning wheel, and the only thing she was doing while making cloth was she was making prayer. Only in the afternoon, she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. She got some break, some relaxation, some rest she took. She just made herself free from this activity in the spinning wheel in the evening for a while. And what did she do during that break? During that break time, she would feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda, breaking the bread into little bits, B-I-T, bit means parts. Bit means part. So while she sat in the veranda, breaking the bread into little bits, in the veranda she would sit and she would break the bread into pieces. Hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. This is another phrase that is in bold letters. A veritable bedlam of chirrupings. A veritable bedlam of chirrupings. This veritable means exciting. Exciting. Bedlam means noise. And chirruping means the sound of the birds. Sparrows, hundreds of sparrows would come, they would sit around the author's grandmother, and they knew that this lady loved them. They knew that this lady had all the love and care in her heart for them. That's why she has brought breads and she is breaking them into pieces and she is throwing those pieces for them. They knew this love of the lady for them. They enjoyed it. So they made a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. It means there was excitement in them. They were moving in excitement and they were just making a noise because of their excitement, because of this chirruping. Chirruping means the sounds they were making. Small birds make a sound like chiki 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 sound they made. This sound, it got the form of a noise. It became something like bedlam. Chirruping is the sound of the birds. A huge number of birds came to get the pieces of bread from the grandmother, and because of all the birds making their sound together, it became a case of bedlam or noise, and there is excitement in it. That is called a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. All those birds would come and they would sit around her, they would move. Some came and perched on her legs. Perch, P-E-R-C-H, perch means sit. Some would come and sit on her legs, others on her shoulders, some even sat on her head. All these birds, they knew the love this woman had in her mind, in her heart for them. They also acknowledged the love. Some of them sat on her legs, some others on her shoulders, some others even on her head. She smiled, but never shooed them away. Shoot means to chase, to let them go. Yes, go. No, she never shooed them away. She just smiled when we found that all the birds loved her so much. They recognized, they identified, they accepted her love, and in this way they came close to her. They sat on different organs of her body, on her leg, on her shoulder, on her head. So she also enjoyed it. She just smiled but never shooed them away. She never threw them away. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. The author said the way this lady enjoyed that particular time, the half an hour she enjoyed with the birds, feeding them with little pieces of bread, this half an hour seemed to be the happiest half an hour of the day for this lady. Then what happened? The author, already he was in a university and there was the close link between them was totally finished. Now, when I decided to go abroad, this is a very important word, to go abroad. See here, there is no preposition used. To go abroad. People go abroad, it means you go to a foreign country, you leave your country, go abroad. Though no preposition is used here between go and abroad. Don't say go to abroad. He went to a foreign country. He went to a foreign country. He went to China, but he went abroad. No preposition needed. So when I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. Now the author decided to go abroad for higher studies, and he knew that although there was a there was absence of intimacy between them for these years when he went to university. But he knows his grandmother well. He knows that inside her heart she still loves him. This elderly lady, she had accepted her luck without any complaint, but inside her heart she still loves her grandson. This is what the grandson is very well aware of. That's why he is saying that I knew that, I was sure that my grandmother would become upset when she would come to know that I was going abroad, and also that he would come after 5 years. It was his 5 years stay abroad. After 5 years he would complete his course and then only he will come back. And at her age one could never tell, this part is very important. At her age one could never tell what? This is not mentioned. At her age one could never tell means that this woman has become so old that at any time she may die. One could never tell means one could never tell what may happen to her. One could never tell at what time she may die. This is one way of expressing the words that have harshness or difficulty or pain associated with them. These words are sometimes omitted. At her age one could never tell what? One could never tell at what time this woman may die. At any time she may die. This part is omitted. It is left up to us. It is implied. We should know. This means at her age one could never tell means one could never tell what may happen to this woman. One can never tell. It means anything may happen to her because she is very old. See the nice expression that comes next. The author earlier said, and at her age one could never tell. I have told the meaning of it now, but my grandmother could. This means the way she became old at that time, people were afraid, people were thinking that at any time she may die, and the grandson will come 5 years later from his foreign stay, and during these 5 years anything may happen to her, she may even die also. But although no one could tell what may happen to her, the author is saying my grandmother could tell. She was a religious woman, she was a spiritual woman, she was more intimate to God, she could calculate, she could make guess, she could realize the things that common people cannot. So the author is saying his grandmother knew, she could tell what would happen to her, she could tell that yes, nothing would happen to her, she knew it well that she would not die. She was not even sentimental. When the grandson was going abroad, his grandmother was not sentimental, she was not emotional. This is how elderly people with a strong personality, with religious practice, with spiritual practice, they become like this. They become very grave, they can handle situations, they do not lose heart, they do not just start crying. No, this woman is very strong in her heart, in her mind, and she even was not sentimental when her grandson was going abroad. She came to leave me at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. Along with the grandson, along with the author, the grandmother also came to the railway station to see him off, but she never talked to anyone, she never showed any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer, just her lips were moving in prayer, that is what she was doing. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her mind was lost. Here the word lost does not mean anything negative. You are lost in something means you are very busy in doing it. He is lost in his book. He is lost in the study of physics. This means he knows nothing else. He is very much engaged in this activity. So the grandmother, her lips were moving, her mind was lost in prayer. Her whole mind was engaged. It was busy. It was focused on prayer only, nothing else. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of a rosary. I discussed the meaning of this phrase earlier in the first video. To tell the bead of the rosary means to chant the name of God, to utter the name of God while counting with a garland. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary, and her lips were moving in prayer, and she was very much busy in prayer. She did not talk to anyone, she did not show any emotion, although her grandson was going abroad. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. As usual, when they left, when they were separated, the grandson, he was going to board the train, and at that time the grandmother, he kissed him on his forehead. And the grandson is saying, the author is saying, when he left, then he could feel that the part of his forehead where the grandmother kissed, the grandmother's nose, perhaps her face was sweating, and some moist, M-O-I-S-T, moist means wet. M-O-I-S-T, moist means sweat, moist means wet, wet. So if you kiss someone and on your face or on your nose there is sweat, then when you kiss, some particle, some amount of this sweat will also go to the face of the person whom you have kissed. When the grandmother kissed her grandson, the author is saying that when I left, I could feel that yes, there is some moist imprint. The next word is imprint. Imprint means mark. On my forehead there was some imprint, some mark of moist, some wet marks, some portion of some amount of wetness that I got from her when she kissed me. Some sweat was on his forehead that he got from his grandmother, and he said, I cherished it, I valued it, I gave it much value, I loved it. This, yes, my grandmother has kissed me, and on my forehead there was some moist imprint, some portion of the sweat that I have got from her. And he considered this, he valued this imprint, the moist imprint, the wet substance, as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. He thought that 5 years later I will come. During these 5 years my grandmother will die, may die. He was afraid of this, and he thought that perhaps this is the last imprint, the last sign of our relationship. My grandmother and me, during childhood, we were so close friends. Now I am leaving abroad, I am going abroad, I will come back after 5 years, and she has kissed me. And the moist imprint on my forehead because of her kiss, the author considered this to be the last sign of their relationship. He was afraid that after 5 years when he will return, perhaps this woman will no more be alive. But what happened is that was not so. This did not happen. After 5 years I came back home and was met by her at the station. After 5 years, when the author came home back, in the same railway station the grandmother went to receive him. She did not look a day older, the same old she is. We earlier found at the beginning, the author said that for the 20 years of his life, he has found his grandmother to be the same old. Now after 5 years of his stay abroad, when he came home back, he found that she is not older than what she was 5 years ago. She is the same old, she is not a day older. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, yes, after meeting she hugged the author. At that time what happened? I could hear her reciting her prayers. Her reciting prayers was so continuous, it was so habitual, it was so non-stop, it was so continuous that when the grandmother hugged her grandson, the grandson is saying that I could feel that inside her heart there was the movement of her heart in prayer. She was praying, I could feel it. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer and with frivolous rebukes. So even on the day when the grandson has come after long 5 years, the grandmother is still very reserved, she is very serious, and she still on that day also she spent her usual time with the sparrows, and she was happy with them, and she fed them with frivolous rebukes. What is this frivolous rebuke? Frivolous rebuke means scolding. When you scold someone, this is called frivolous, and this is called rebuke. Frivolous means amusing or funny. Amusing or funny. When you love some people love animals a lot. The grandmother loved animals so much that when the birds they came and they passed on her body and they were waiting to have the pieces of bread, she would scold them. This scolding is a scolding of love, not out of anger. You go this way, go there. Just out of love she was scolding them. That is called her frivolous rebuke. That was usual to her. And on the day when the grandson came, on that day also she did her usual routine activity with the sparrows. So then what happened is that in the evening a change came over her. On that evening, the evening of the day when the grandson came and she went to the station to receive him, She still spent her half an hour in the evening with the sparrows in her regular way, but in the evening a change came over her. She did not pray. That is something really shocking. The woman who is known for her piety, known for her religiosity, she is known for her prayers. This woman today did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum and started to sing. Today she did something unusual, something that she never did in her life. What she did today is that she invited all the women of her neighborhood in her house, and she got an old drum, and they started using the drum and then started singing. And this is something which was quite unusual to her. It is something that she never did. She was known for her prayer, she was known for her religious activities. This particular woman did not pray in the evening today. Rather, she invited the women of the neighborhood and took a drum and started singing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum. She thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum. What she did is that the drum that she brought for singing, that drum was dilapidated. It was old, and the cloth or the skin that was used on the drum, that was old, and it needed repair. It lost its stability. It became loose. So it is sagging skin. The drum skins have become sagging. They have become loose, and the drum itself has become dilapidated. It needs repairing. It is almost ruined, and that sagging skins of the dilapidated drum, she thumped on it. She thumped on it. For hours she did like this, and she was enjoying. She was singing using the dilapidated drum, and sang of the homecoming of the warriors. What is the song she sang? The song was the homecoming of warriors. When someone goes for fighting, and in the fighting he becomes a warrior, he becomes a hero, his team wins the battle, and then the warrior comes home back, then the people of the neighborhood would welcome him, and they will be proud of him. They will organize some kind of entertainment, some kind of celebration. So this woman organized a celebration. She brought the drum and she started singing using the drum. And what was the song? The song was the homecoming of warriors. A warrior, a hero has fought the battle. He has won the battle. He has come home back. This is what the theme, the topic of the song was. Who is the hero here? In the view of the author's grandmother, her grandson, the author, Khushwant Singh, was the hero. My grandson has come home back after 5 years from foreign trip. He has got higher studies. My grandson is the hero. He is the warrior. A warrior has come home back. We are celebrating it. That is what she meant. She was so much busy in singing today. She was lost in her song. It was something unusual for her. We had to persuade her to stop, to avoid overstraining. Overstraining means overpressure. If she does something, this unusual thing for a long time, she may have some strain. She may have some kind of pressure on her mind and brain. They were afraid. So they said, we had to persuade her, we had to request her, to convince her that please stop it, otherwise it may have its bad impact on your health, on your body. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. The author says, since since the time I know her, for all these 20 years of my life, I have seen for the first time, the only time, that she had missed her prayer. She had missed her prayer. Instead of praying, she had started singing, and the singing is about the homecoming of a warrior. Here for the old lady, her grandson is the warrior, as if he has won the battle. This much happiness she has. This means that although their intimacy seemed to have got lost, inside her heart she still had the love and care for her grandson. That's why when he has come home back, she is so much emotional, she is so much happy that she is celebrating the return of her grandson as if the return of it is the return of a warrior from a battle. And even so much she was engaged, she was happy that she even missed her prayer. The woman who was known for her prayer all her life has missed her prayer for the sake of songs of homecoming, for the sake of her grandson. And we have come towards the end of it. In the next paragraph, you will see the death of the grandmother and what she does next. That will be even more exciting. We will meet soon in the next video, the last one. With this hope, we are ending this video. Thank you very much for being with me.